6 planks that nobody does that will define your abs in just 21 days. Less than 8% of the population manages to maintain defined abs throughout the year. This is no coincidence. This is one of the most challenging areas to develop and reveal. While most people insist on doing hundreds of traditional crunches expecting miraculous results, they are ignoring a fundamental fact. Isometric movements like planks deeply activate all muscle layers of the core in a way that no traditional crunch can achieve. The problem is that most people only know the basic plank, often performed incorrectly, and are unaware of the variations that truly transform the abdomen. Today you will see 6 planks that nobody does that will define your abs in just 21 days. Before we begin, tell me in the comments your name and how long you have been training. Exercise number 6. Side plank. The side plank is a variation of the traditional plank that is unfortunately neglected by most practitioners. Originating from ancient yoga practices and incorporated into modern functional training, this position challenges the body in a different plane of movement, creating a unique stimulus that most conventional exercises do not provide. What makes this exercise particularly valuable is its ability to intensely activate the external and internal obliques, muscles often ignored in conventional abdominal workouts. These muscles not only contribute to the aesthetics of a locked waist, but are also fundamental for the rotational stability of the trunk, something essential for virtually all daily and sports movements. Additionally, the side plank works the quadratus lumborum and hip stabilizers, creating a cascade effect of strengthening that significantly improves posture and reduces the risk of lower back pain. To perform it correctly, lie on your side with your forearm on the ground, aligned directly below your shoulder. Stack your feet one on top of the other. Raise your hips, creating a straight line from ankle to shoulder. Keep your core engaged, as if you were pulling your navel toward your spine. The free arm can rest along your body or extend upward, depending on your desired level of challenge. Breathe normally and keep your gaze fixed forward. A common mistake is letting the hips drop toward the ground, which drastically reduces the effectiveness of the exercise and increases pressure on the lower back. Another frequent misconception is raising the hips too much, creating an inverted V shape, which removes tension from the target muscles. For beginners, I recommend starting with 3 sets of 20 seconds on each side. Over time, progressively increase the duration to 30, 45, and eventually 60 seconds per side. Exercise 5. Reverse plank. The reverse plank is a powerful variation that completely inverts the dynamics of the traditional exercise, offering a new angle of attack for the abdominal muscles. Unlike the classic version that distributes weight between forearms and feet, this movement transfers the load to the shoulders and places the body in a position where gravity works in a completely different way on the core. The beauty of this exercise lies in its ability to intensely activate the lower part of the rectus abdominis, an area that many people find difficult to target with conventional exercises. By supporting yourself with your hands behind your body, you create a line of force that runs through the entire anterior chain, requiring a constant contraction of the lower abdominals to maintain the position. Additionally, the hip flexors, which frequently dominate during traditional crunches, are less emphasized here, allowing for more isolated and efficient core work. To perform it correctly, sit on the floor with your legs extended in front of you. Position your hands on the ground, slightly behind your hips, with your fingers pointing toward your feet or slightly outward. Press your hands firmly against the ground and raise your hips, creating a straight line from your shoulders to your heels. Keep your head in a neutral position, looking up, and engage your core as if you were trying to pull your navel inward. The weight should be distributed between your heels and hands. A common mistake is keeping the hips too low, which makes the exercise inefficient and can overload the shoulders. Another frequent misconception is excessively arching the spine, which transfers stress to the lower back and reduces abdominal activation. For beginners, start by maintaining the position for 15 to 20 seconds, performing 3 sets. As your strength increases, progress to 30 and eventually 45 seconds per set. Exercise 4. Plank with knee to chest. This dynamic variation of the traditional plank elevates the level of difficulty by incorporating an element of movement, transforming a purely isometric exercise into a metabolic and muscular challenge simultaneously. Developed by functional trainers to simulate natural movement patterns of the human body, the plank with knee to chest creates an integrated stimulus that few exercises can replicate. What makes this exercise extremely effective is its ability to work not only the isometric resistance of the core, but also add a dynamic component that significantly increases caloric expenditure and overall intensity. By bringing the knee toward the chest, you activate even more of the deep fibers of the rectus abdominis, especially the lower portion, while also working the hip flexors in a functional manner. This combination creates a toning and definition effect far superior to the conventional static plank. A study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research demonstrated that adding dynamic elements to planks increases rectus abdominis activation by up to 30% compared to the static version, making it significantly more efficient for those seeking visible results in less time. To perform it correctly, start in the traditional plank position, with your forearms resting on the ground and your body forming a straight line from head to heels. Keep your core engaged, and without allowing your hips to rise, bring one knee toward the elbow on the same side or to your chest. Return to the starting position and repeat with the other leg. The movement should be controlled and fluid, without compromising the stability of the basic plank position. A common mistake I frequently see is letting the hips rise during the movement, transforming the exercise into something closer to a mountain climber and reducing the isometric work of the core. Another misconception is performing the movement too quickly, sacrificing quality for speed. Remember, each repetition should be intentional and controlled. To implement this exercise in your routine, I recommend starting with 3 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions for each side, with a brief rest between sets. As your strength and endurance improve, increase to 12 to 15 repetitions per side. Time under tension is crucial here, so focus on slow and controlled movements to maximize results. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Having constant access to science-based information is what will make you progress with health in the long term in the world of bodybuilding. Exercise 3. Plank with alternating arm and leg raise. The plank with alternating arm and leg raise is an intermediate to advanced level exercise that takes the concept of core stability to a new level. This variation, popularized by elite athlete trainers and physical therapists, challenges the body in multiple planes of movement simultaneously, creating a unique stimulus for the entire musculoskeletal system. What makes this exercise particularly valuable is its ability to work what we call the anti-rotational stability of the core. By raising opposite limbs, you create a rotational force that your body needs to resist, intensely activating the obliques and deep muscles of the spine. This ability to resist rotation is fundamental not only for a defined abdominal appearance, but mainly for preventing spine injuries and improving performance in virtually all sports and daily activities. Additionally, this movement simultaneously recruits the stabilizing muscles of the shoulders and hips, creating a true full-body exercise disguised as abdominal work. The result is a harmonious muscular development that goes far beyond aesthetics, contributing to a stronger posture and more efficient movement. To perform it correctly, start in the traditional plank position, with your hands directly below your shoulders and your body forming a straight line. Firmly engage your core and, keeping your hips stable, simultaneously raise your right arm forward and your left leg backward, both parallel to the ground. Hold the position for a brief moment, return to the starting position, and alternate to the other side, raising your left arm and right leg. The key is to keep your hips level and avoid any rotation of the trunk during the movement. A common mistake is excessively arching the lower back when raising the leg, which reduces core activation and can overload the vertebrae. Another frequent misconception is raising the limbs too high, compromising stability and proper form. The goal is not maximum amplitude, but rather maintaining perfect control throughout the entire movement. To implement this challenge in your routine, I recommend starting with 3 sets of 6 to 8 repetitions for each side, focusing on movement quality and stability. As your strength increases, progress to 10 to 12 repetitions per side. Exercise 2. Plank with shoulder tap. The plank with shoulder tap represents a brilliant evolution of the traditional exercise, adding a component of controlled instability that deeply challenges the core in multiple dimensions. This variation emerged in modern functional training as a response to the need to prepare the body for real-life challenges, where we rarely maintain static positions for long periods. The transformative power of this exercise lies in its ability to create a momentary and controlled imbalance. Each time you lift a hand to touch the opposite shoulder, your center of gravity shifts, forcing all the stabilizing muscles of the core to work with much more intensity to maintain the position. This creates an extremely effective stimulus for the transverse abdominal muscles, obliques, and spinal erectors, developing not only strength but also proprioception and neuromuscular control. This variation is particularly efficient for developing what specialists call anti-rotational strength and anti-lateral strength, crucial capabilities for preventing spine injuries and improving performance in virtually any physical activity. Additionally, the repetitive movement of the arms slightly elevates the heart rate, adding a subtle cardiovascular component that increases the total caloric expenditure of the exercise. To perform it correctly, position yourself in a high plank, with your hands directly under your shoulders and your feet hip-width apart. Your body should form a straight line from heels to head. Firmly engage your core as if you were preparing to receive a punch in your abdomen. Maintaining this tension, lift your right hand off the ground and lightly touch your left shoulder. Return your hand to the ground and repeat with your left hand touching your right shoulder. The movement should be controlled and deliberate without allowing your hips to rotate or rise during the execution. An extremely common mistake is letting the hips rotate to the side during the tap, which not only diminishes the benefits of the exercise, but can also overload the lower back. Another frequent misconception is arching the spine or raising the hips, removing tension from the core and transferring it to other muscle groups. The plank position should remain virtually unchanged throughout the entire movement, as if your torso were in a rigid vest. To effectively incorporate this exercise into your routine, I recommend starting with 3 sets of 8 to 10 alternating taps, resting 30 to 45 seconds between sets. As your strength and stability improve, progressively increase to 12, 16, and eventually 20 taps per set. To further intensify the challenge, you can slow down the movement, holding each tap for a full second before returning your hand to the ground. Exercise 1. Traditional plank. The traditional plank is often underestimated for its apparent simplicity, but it represents one of the most fundamental and transformative exercises for abdominal development and global body stability. With origins dating back to ancient yoga practices like Chaturanga Dandasana, the plank has been adopted and validated by modern science as a pillar of functional training and physical rehabilitation. What makes the traditional plank truly extraordinary is its ability to simultaneously activate multiple layers of abdominal muscles, from the more superficial rectus abdominis to the deep transverse abdominis, in a sustained isometric contraction that few exercises can replicate. This integral activation is precisely what makes it superior to traditional crunches, which tend to isolate only the rectus abdominis while neglecting the deep stabilizers that are essential for complete and functional definition. What many people don't know is that the traditional plank also intensely works other muscle groups beyond the abdomen. The shoulder stabilizers, spinal erectors, quadratus lumborum, and even the glutes are recruited to maintain the ideal body alignment. It is this integrative nature that makes the plank such a transformative exercise for the physique as a whole. To execute it with perfect technique, position yourself lying face down. Support your forearms on the ground with your elbows aligned directly below your shoulders. Your forearms should be parallel to each other, with your palms facing down or joined. Raise your body, supporting yourself only on your forearms and toes. Your body should form an absolutely straight line from head to heels, without raising your hips or sinking in the lower back region. The key to maximizing effectiveness lies in the conscious activation of the core. Imagine that you are pulling your navel toward your spine and simultaneously gently contracting your glutes. This dual activation creates what specialists call abdominal bracing, the most efficient way to engage the deep muscles of the trunk. Your neck should remain in a neutral position, with your gaze directed at the ground, maintaining the natural alignment of the cervical spine. An extremely common mistake is allowing the hips to rise above the body line, creating an inverted A shape. This drastically reduces the tension in the abdominal muscles and transfers the effort to the shoulders, significantly diminishing the benefits. Equally problematic is excessive sinking in the lower back region, creating a hyperlordosis that can overload the vertebrae and cause discomfort. Both extremes should be avoided in favor of a perfectly straight and neutral line. Another frequent misconception is the incorrect position of the elbows. When positioned too far forward or too far back in relation to the shoulders, they create an unfavorable lever that can overload the joint and reduce the ability to maintain the position for longer periods. The elbows should be precisely below the shoulders, creating a stable base of support. To implement the traditional plank progressively and effectively, I recommend starting with 3 sets of 20 to 30 seconds, resting 45 to 60 seconds between them. As your endurance improves, gradually increase the duration to 45, 60, and eventually 90 seconds per set. Ideally, maintain the quality of the position throughout the entire time, ending the exercise as soon as you notice a compromise in technique, as maintaining an incorrect position brings few benefits and increases the risk of discomfort. To advance beyond the basic version without compromising technique, you can progress to planks of 60 to 90 seconds. Before we finish, it's important to talk about some contraindications. Remember that the goal of training is to evolve your body, not destroy it. People with uncontrolled hypertension should be cautious with isometric exercises like planks, especially in longer durations, as they can temporarily elevate blood pressure. In these cases, start with shorter series and monitor how your body responds. Individuals with spine problems, such as herniated discs or spondylolisthesis, should consult a physical therapist before incorporating advanced planks like the plank with limb elevation. A safer alternative would be to start with the knee plank until developing sufficient core strength. Pregnant women, especially after the second trimester, should avoid the traditional plank due to the intra-abdominal pressure it generates. Modified versions, such as the inclined plank or side plank, may be more suitable alternatives. For those with carpal tunnel syndrome or wrist problems, the traditional plank can cause discomfort. In these cases, an excellent alternative is to perform the plank on closed fists or using specific supports that keep the wrists in a neutral position. Finally, always listen to your body. Sharp pain, especially in the lower back region, is a sign to immediately stop the exercise and reassess your technique or seek professional guidance. If you liked this and also want to discover another exercise widely practiced in Asian communities to heal years of neglect with your own body, we have a video appearing right now on the screen showing more about this movement. Don't miss it. Thank you for watching this far, and may God bless you, my friend.